Hi everyone, welcome to Equilibrium Collective. I do apologise in advance if I mess up at all. This is my first time leading on here tonight. So I'm joined with my co-host Terri. So
hello.
Hi Terri.
Hello, and my co-host Pumpkin. So hello Pumpkin. Yeah. Hello Pumpkin.
So tonight we are going to be speaking about the Wendigo. So we've done quite a bit of research. So the Wendigo is something that is found in Canada and America. And when it comes to the appearance, there's actually two different stories, really, depending on where you're from. So more Western type stories would say that by looking at him or it, she, we don't know what they are. They can be yellow. They're covered in like this matted fur and have like really sharp fangs. So very much a monstrous image.
Something that gets confused with the Bigfoot quite often.
Yeah. Because again, it's said that they're gigantic, they're very big, which again will go along with the whole Bigfoot thing. Obviously covered in fur, Bigfoot. But with this one, yeah, the whole big fangs, really tall body. Again, quite just covered in fur. But if you actually look at how the natives described him, we don't know. I keep saying him, but
don't assume their gender.
So you'd be looking at something that is actually more grey in complexion, like really bony, bones like pointing out through the skin. Again, still very tall. So they've got like the same idea on that. So very tall, very big. But they've got
Isn't the sort of the height of them to do with the fact that they're insatiable? When they eat, instead of it filling them up, it makes them grow taller.
So the more and more they eat, the taller they're going to be. Rather than getting light like me, they're going to be getting taller and taller.
I'm kind of liking it a little bit. Yeah, my little 5'1", I'm like, oh no.
Well, I'm tall enough as it is, so maybe I won't do that. But yeah, so they're meant to have also this like awful smell to them. Smell of like decay. I can't say that word anymore.
Decomposition.
Yes, that.
Yeah, and is it right? Because I'm going to be perfectly honest here. Before we started doing this, the only knowledge that I had about Wendigos was from the Winchesters in Supernatural. That's really all I had knowledge about it. So I did do a little bit of research, obviously, before coming on here. And I think they were saying that one type is very kind of almost dog-like in appearance, almost like a werewolf. And another type is very kind of monkey-like in appearance, so more humanoid, kind of Bigfootish, that kind of thing. They're sort of the two kind of different facial shapes and body shapes, but still tall, smelly, unpleasant things.
Yeah, definitely. So, apart from appearance, so the Wendigo is said to have been... there's two different stories. So natives have said that they believe it to be a spirit that will then take over someone if they have been greedy or they've turned to cannibalism. And so it was back years and years and years ago, during the really long cold winters, when people would like get caught in the snow and they'd run out of food and they'd turn to cannibalism to try and survive. Once that had happened, it was then believed that you'd be taken over by the spirit of a Wendigo.
Your heart would turn to ice, I believe.
Yes.
Yeah.
Lovely. Right. So they were then doomed to walk the earth in search of human flesh to be able to live. If they don't find it, then they'll end up dying. So very much like I feel like there's like a comparison from them and vampires, because you've got like that you having to look for
insatiable need for
or having to have human blood, which I found quite interesting.
I mean, I've read a couple of stories where they're deemed quite intelligent as well. They use tools. They mimic human voices to lure people in. I read a Native American story that said that this Wendigo had just killed the family and taken the young boy, but the young boy was too thin and not enough meat on him. So he had taken the boy, he kidnapped the boy and kept him with him, try and fatten him up. But because they were traveling great distances, the boy never fattened up because he was obviously moving around so often. And the Wendigo was actually cutting him on his hand constantly to try and see if he'd put any flesh on. And it never happened. They came upon a village and the Wendigo sent the boy in to try and lure people out. But the boy managed to persuade the American Indian native leaders that he was, being held captive. And they got a big gang out and they went out and they tracked the Wendigo down and they killed him and they chopped its legs off. And thinking that it was dead, they went back and started celebrating because they were all safe. And then they started hearing noises in the little forests around them, went back out, and the Wendigo was actually still alive and sucking out the marrow out of its own legs.
Yum!
So they are very insatiable to the point that they'll even self-cannibalize if needs must.
Yeah, because I also read that, again, along with like the appearance stuff, if they've not, like you said, if they've not found actual human flesh, their skin around their mouths and their actual lips, they've actually bitten away at them. So it's all just very like manky.
Kind of very zombie-like as well. Yeah. But you don't get turned into one if you get bitten by one. The only way to get turned into one is to eat human flesh.
Yeah.
So you can get bitten by one and escape and just have a nasty scar. And there are a few people out there who said they have been. And they've got the scars to prove it, which is creepy.
Yeah.
I mean, I've come across a few stories online during the course of just being on some of the Facebook groups that I'm on, where people post unusual things that have been going on in their house or in their gardens, and especially in America and in Canada, they're very matter of fact about encountering these things. Very much the same way as if they would, give you advice on what to do if you had a bear or a cougar in your back garden. Yeah. They give advice on what to do if you've got a Wendigo, or they also call them shapeshifters. They sort of fall under the same sort of thing. And they're very good with giving advice about what to do and not to do to get rid of them. Just really matter of fact. Like, yeah, you happen to live there. That's where they are. Yeah. You're going to encounter them, which is creepy for me. I don't like it to be quite so matter of fact. Thanks.
No, I came.
We've got a few people in the comments here who say good evening to Laura. Hey, Laura.
Hi, Laura.
And we've got Simon. Hi, Simon.
Hi.
And the whole of the Equilibrium Collective.
Yeah. So when it comes to sightings, we said sightings. So a lot of the sightings that I found were back in like 1800s, early 1900s, and there was a few stories. So one of them was a person called Jack Fiddler, and he was actually a shaman who belonged to a tribe called the Sucker people. I know it's a strange name, but it's okay there. Okay. So yes, he was a shaman who was believed to be a healer and believed to fight off like evil entities.
Okay.
So he actually ended up becoming a Wendigo hunter.
As you do.
Yeah, went round, did all these huntings, and apparently he'd killed 14 Wendigos in his lifetime.
Were they though?
Well, we'll get there.
Oh, okay.
We're gonna get there. So yeah, he was actually in the end arrested in October 1907.
Oh, okay.
For killing a woman without it being 100% that she was a Wendigo.
Right.
So
he was basically a serial killer.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, it was said that like back then, like the only ways that a Wendigo would die was either they ran out of food, so couldn't get hold of a human, or you would try and take the person that's been taken over by the Wendigo to a healer, try and heal them, get the Wendigo spirit out of them. If that didn't work, then you would kill them to prevent them from then going after more and more humans and killing off everyone. So obviously this guy felt like he was, so this guy like felt like he was just doing his job, like he was going around doing his healing stuff, and came across this woman, believed that she was a Wendigo, and couldn't obviously heal her, and ended up killing her. And so himself and his brother, I can't remember his brother's name, but himself and his brother, might be Joseph, was actually arrested in that October. Now they both died, but Jack actually escaped from prison and hung himself. So I don't know whether that was to do with guilt, or he just didn't want to die at someone else's hands. But his brother actually died in prison, even though he was actually going to be released, but he died in prison from consumption.
Oh, okay.
So they both died.
A really happy story then, happy ending.
I like unhappy stories. Sorry.
I didn't find any happy stories associated with this topic at all, I have to say.
Yeah, apparently I like the grim stories.
I mean, I was quite shocked when I was sort of looking into this that there are still modern stories about it, because you hear about all these things and it's all stories that sort of happened to the American Indians, like you said, back in the 1900s. But there are still sort of modern stories of people encountering these creatures. I read on a Reddit thread about this chap. He didn't want to name his town or anything, but they had a few sightings and they assumed that it was Bigfoot at first. So they got all excited and, they got the press in. So you got all the tourists coming in for the Bigfoot and all the rest of it. Then cattle started dying and then people started going missing. It turned out that they were looking for a group. They were working as a group, which was unusual for Wendigos because they usually go work alone. But this seemed to be a family group. Was spotted by a family who'd gone to this town on holiday. They tended to holiday there every summer. The mother, the father, and the two young children, two young girls, were walking down, and the girls spotted them first. They were being followed by two dog people, she called them, being followed by two dog people. The mum sort of obviously knew the rumors, clicked on right away what something was following them. She was like, no, just ignore them, let's just go, just leave them alone. But the girl was throwing rocks at them and jeering at them and all the rest of it. Stupid. But mum and dad got so spooked they went straight home, packed up, left, which was really lucky because that night their whole house got ransacked. So these things had followed them and knew where they lived and made it. And it's really and there's lots of stories like that. But apparently the local school then got closed down early because they saw some of them in the tree line by the school watching the children, so they took all the kids out. And all these sort of things were going on, and they seem to take it very matter-of-factly. There's a very they're very kind of, these things exist.
Yeah,
This
like
is what
very
you
strictly.
regard yourself. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm never going to America. Sorry.
No. No, there is quite a few places I'd love to go to in America, but I might stick away from Canada and like any places in America where there's been one.
Yeah. No, I'm not going to be walking the Appalachian Trail or anything.
No. But no, there is even stories like I think it was again back when Jack Fiddler was around.
Yeah.
There was some French settlers, and they were even writing back to their church to say about the Wendigos, and saying about their belief. There was definitely a very like strong belief there from many different types of people. It wasn't just like, the natives.
I mean, there is something to be said for the fact that maybe something like that does exist. I mean, maybe the origins of it, you know, the flesh-eating aspect of it, maybe that's the myth bit, but the actual creature itself does exist, and it's a meat eater. So if you know, it hunts in packs, and like a cougar, like a lion, like whatever, but relatively more intelligent, if it finds you and you're vulnerable, then you're dinner.
Yeah.
Nice. I mean, I did during my sort of research, I found a couple of videos. There's quite a few on YouTube that are a bit okay. But there are a few that something's caught, and I mean, it's open to speculation what it could be. It could be just a crazy person. Right. You know, just a crazy person in the bush. Yeah, it could be very easily just a crazy person in the bush. Some people, there's one video that was posted, and the guy said it was an alien. He caught an alien, and it was then the local people that said, no, that's not an alien. That's a shapeshifter. That's a Wendigo. That, you know, that's not an alien. Obviously, as with all these videos, it's never particularly clear.
Like the 4K camera.
The clearer it is, less people believe it, isn't it? If you get a really good shot, if you get a shot of Bigfoot coming right towards you, they're going to be like, that's a guy in a suit. Yeah. We want some grainy, far off things, a bit blurry that you can't quite figure out. Shall I see if I can get these videos up, and then let's see if I can share my screen. And we want this one. So if I share that, is that come up?
Let's have a look. Oh, here we go.
Yeah, so this is the video, a home video of this guy, and he's heard a noise in the bush, and he's turned around to see what it is. And I think they show it again just afterwards. He's found something there.
Okay.
I think they're going to show it again.
Yeah.
It just sort of looks up at him. See, this could be a crazy person.
Yeah.
But look at its eyes. So this is the one he thought it was an alien that he'd caught. Right.
I mean, it does have a very like skinny frame.
Yeah. So this is French. This is a French one. This is a couple of French students. They're just camping in an old house in the middle of nowhere. I think in Canada. They must be French Canadian. And they hear a noise, and then if you look, do you see that thing just crawling behind?
Oh, yeah. Anyone wants to pop in any comments of what they want, what they think they see, please do share with us.
Again, so I mean, that's very humanoid. I mean, that could just be a crazy person in the bush.
Yeah.
But it's very pale.
It's very pale. It's very bony.
It's walking on all fours, which is odd. What one's this? Oh, this is again a load of people camping in the middle of nowhere. Okay. They hear a noise. It's really hard to see this one. It's really, and it just sort of pokes its head around the corner. You have to be really quick on the doorway. See if you can see it. It's going to come up in a minute. There.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it went very quick.
And then they run around the corner to see where it's gone, and it's disappeared. They show it again here, so it just pokes its head around the corner. I mean, it's a humanoid shape, but that's not a human.
Yeah.
Right, this guy is cycling, and something jumps out, and he very nearly hits it. It's just after he goes across the bridge. And it's daytime. So this is... Again, I mean, this to me looks massively fake, but that's probably because it's daytime and quite clear.
Yeah.
Just here, look.
Oh.
And then he stops, he turns back, and it's gone. So, yeah. I mean, it's a human shape.
Yeah.
It could be a kid playing Spider-Man, for all we know.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And then
it was very grey, wasn't it?
It was very grey.
Very grey.
And then this one, he spots something in the trees. And we just say very big thank you to Too Spooky for You for the use of all these videos. He's put them all together for us. Here it is. He spots something in the trees. Can you see that just walking? And it's grey.
Yeah. Again, it's very similar to those other ones where it's grey, very thin.
Yeah. Humanoid shape, but what could it be? Who knows?
Yeah.
So yeah. So there are a lot of videos out there. That was a nice one that I found that just had a few really good ones all together in one place. But yes, as Simon says down there, the trouble is a lot of people make these videos just to get on YouTube, which is very true as well.
Yeah.
And the clearer that they are, the less you believe them. It's just a fact of...
Yeah. No, it's a shame. Like, obviously, there are a lot of people that do fake things just to try and get some fame, and
it messes everything up.
Everyone's talking, but it then makes you wonder about the real ones. Like, if you do get a video that comes up and it's actually real, but you're actually like, but is it? Is it?
Yeah, your mindset, you just refuse to believe it.
Yeah.
Don't you? It's unfortunate.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate.
Very.
But I as you know, I tend to be quite skeptical.
Yeah.
About pretty much everything, even though I do believe the evidence that I require tends to be of a certain level before I start to believe in these things 100%. But I do know that the animal kingdom is a strange and weird and wonderful place, and there is a great deal of Canada and the Americas that we haven't explored. There is a part of me that thinks that a creature like this could easily exist. And not be anything to do with the supernatural, not be anything to do with you know cannibalism or anything like that. Just it be an ape-like creature, of relative intelligence, who has learned to mimic. I mean, birds can mimic a human voice. It just has that set of genes that's been able to do this and use it as a hunting tool. And maybe there aren't that many of them, or maybe there are. We just don't see them because they're clever. But there's a part of me that really does think that something of this ilk does exist out there.
Yeah. See, there's also a part that was saying, I've come across things that saying that it could have been mental health.
Right, yeah.
So there was something called Wendigo psychosis, and people were believing that they were taken over by a Wendigo whilst they were taking out actions. So there was a family, and there was this man, I can't remember when it was, but there was a family, and the man of the family actually killed them all. then ate them.
And then blamed it on the Wendigo.
Blamed it on the Wendigo, but it was almost as if, well, he said that he was taken over by the Wendigo. What's that other word? Possessed. He was possessed by a Wendigo. And then afterwards, I think he was actually hung. He was hung.
So it's not a good
thing. It was like, was he actually just mentally ill with the Wendigo psychosis?
Yeah.
Or was he actually a Wendigo? It gets down to that.
I'm leaning towards the mentally ill, but
Wendigo is meant to be something that is forever that way. There's not been like mentions of it turning back or doing things to make you then become human again.
Absolutely.
It's that constant looking for flesh.
There is a story, or a couple of stories that I read, but one in particular that stands out about a gentleman who was a doctor. Animal control. He was animal control out in the bush. And he got a phone call off a lady who was a doctor. And she'd gone to visit this house in the middle of nowhere to check on the children and all the rest of it. And while she had been there, she'd heard a noise in one of the side rooms that she believed was a dog or a large bear or something being kept in this house with this family. So this animal control guy went out to find out what was going on, because it's not safe to have that around the children. And he followed her directions, and he went down this road and and he traveled and traveled and traveled. And he was in the middle of frigging nowhere, and he came upon this dilapidated house where this house should have been. And he said he heard children laughing and a family, family life going on. But when he came around the corner, it was just this dilapidated, empty house. So we went up into the house anyway, just in case, there was people living in there, and he didn't find anything. He was investigating, and he could hear the sound of what he thought a child crying coming from the back bedroom. So he went in there. It was all dark. It was all, the floorboards were given away underneath his feet. The place was covered in dust, but everything looked like it had just been left.
Yeah.
There was still food. There were still plates and stuff set out on the table and stuff like that. He got into the back bedroom and he heard a noise, and he was using his torch, and he looked up, and there was an animal hiding in the corner with big fangs, with long back legs, with claws. He shot it twice and pegged it. Got into his car. He got into his car, and as he was turning around, reversing, looked into his rearview mirror, and he could see a farmer man with 2 shots in his chest. I threw it in his rearview mirror as he went. I mean, that could just be like some weird urban myth or urban, you don't know with these stories.
No.
But it's creepy.
No, it is. It's like little horror stories almost.
They are. Yeah, they are. Absolutely.
I think we've got a comment from Simon. Let's see. Let me show it. So people used to use wolf skin to be possessed by the spirit of wolves, but there was drugs involved.
Yeah.
It could.
It's
not great.
Yes, it's a good point.
Yeah.
A little bit of peyote and an animal skin, and there they are howling at the moon.
Yeah.
Well, they don't have TV in these out of way places. You have to find entertainment.
You have to.
Because I mean, one line of thinking is that the Wendigo myth is it was just a way of stopping these people who had really long, really hard, really cold winters from resorting to cannibalism. And it was like a just a way of stopping them. If you turn cannibal, then this is going to happen to you, and you're going to roam the woods forever, which does make sense to a certain extent. But on the other flip side of that is that most of these people were deeply, deeply religious communities. So I don't think that they would have needed another thing. You know, they've got their God in the sky telling them, if you eat flesh, you're going to hell.
Yeah.
Why would they need a supernatural creature saying, if you eat flesh, you're going to have hell on earth? It's a bit odd to me.
There's a lot of things that I already consider hell on earth.
Well, there is that as well, yeah. Simon's asking, what's the closest living animal to the Wendigo in appearance? Like we said earlier,
one you go for, isn't it? Because obviously you've got the Western one, which is like yellow skin, but then with like the matted fur, fangs, giant in height.
I mean, kind of almost like a werewolf.
Yeah, I'd say werewolf.
But then you've got the other one, which is more like Bigfoot, so it's more ape-like.
Yeah, but then skinny.
But skinny, yeah.
A skinny ape.
A skinny Bigfoot.
Skinny pony.
Skinny foot.
Yeah. So Western.
I don't think there is an actual animal.
No. I wouldn't.
I mean, a human, I guess.
Yeah.
There's a human animal.
They say, like, obviously with the native side of things, them saying spirits taking over humans, it's basically a human rotting, becoming very skinny, like the lips falling apart, where you're just eating at them if you can't find human flesh. It's basically a zombie rather than an animal, I'd say.
Yeah.
Very skinny, tall.
Just constantly craving food and never ever feeling fulfilled, because when you eat, instead of it filling your stomach, it just makes you grow bigger, so you've got more space that you need to fill.
Yeah,
there should be a proper horror film made out of these things.
There should be. Well, there is programs, isn't there? So you've got that. It's been in Supernatural. Oh God, what were the other ones? You've got Supernatural.
Trials.
Yeah, Grimm. Grim.
Yeah.
Oh, Charmed.
And Charmed, yes.
Wow. So those are the main ones I know of. So they've covered or had episodes where they've involved the Wendigo. But yeah, I'm not sure.
Sorry?
I'm not sure if there's a movie based on Wendigo. Maybe that's something.
I don't think there is. Not just one. But I think it's because it's a very that side of the pond thing. You don't get them over here. It's Canada, America, Mexico. Well, not even Mexico. It's Canada and America. It's places where you get these really long, grim, cold winters. We don't. I hope we don't have them here. Nobody bring one over.
I can't deal with the cold. No, thank you.
No, we don't want that.
Our winters are bad enough. We don't need that.
Absolutely. We don't need one of those things walking around.
No.
Oh, that would be horrible. The story that one of the stories that I read, the one that I was telling you about earlier with the man with the town that was sort of being terrorized by this gang. And there was two other things that he said there that quite freaked me out. One was there was a story of a petrol station that was just a little bit outside of town, one of their petrol stations. As the guy was locking up, he heard these strange noises and saw them, a group of 3 or 4 of them walking up the street towards it. So he hid where they keep the gas. The spare gas, because it's out in the middle of nowhere, so they don't have like a regular thing. So he hid where they keep the spare gas. They trashed the whole petrol station, ripping open the foods, trying to find meat, and the only things that they took were like the hot dogs and the jerky and all that lot. And in the end, the petrol station guy said that they actually turned on the smaller of them and ripped him to shreds, the smaller of the Wendigos, and whipped the Wendigo to shreds before scarpering off. And he's only lucky that he escaped because he was hiding amongst the smell of the gasoline. And then he also said that they had found along the riverbanks these big, what they thought were beaver dams. When they investigated, it was full of half-eaten animal corpses and people who had gone missing, mostly with their faces taken off.
Oh.
Yeah, with the faces removed, and pretty much all of it was the faces are removed. It goes for the face first. I don't know. It's almost like it can't stand to see.
Yeah, I was going to say, I wonder why they'd be taking the face.
I think it's more to do with being watched, maybe, because they are supposed to be relatively intelligent, but they have this hunger. So, yeah, and apparently these beaver dam shaped things were being used like cold storage, like a fridge, to keep the bodies good for longer. Yeah, again, it's just stories. It's secondhand stories. It could, it's from Chinese, isn't it? So
yeah, nice. I think there was even like there's some rivers that were named after the Wendigo.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where are we? Wendigo River and Wendigo Lake in Ontario. So again, that's Canada.
That seems to be kind of like the point of attraction, isn't it? Ontario. It's just that seems where a lot of things seem to happen there.
It's almost like the Loch Ness monster thing. So when you go to Loch Ness, like it's like an attraction. So I wonder if that's like the same sort of thing.
I prefer Nessie. I'd much rather see Nessie.
He's not going to come after you.
I'm hoping it's not a face-eating, flesh-eating monster thing.
I think we'd know about it by now.
Someone will have noticed. Yeah.
Like slithering around Scotland somewhere.
Eating the faces off people.
Yeah. Oh, God. Can you imagine? That would definitely be on the news.
I'd hope.
This is after the news reporter.
Yeah. We're going down a weird path.
We are. Sorry. That's why I chose this one. I like all like the weird, really strange, like mysterious things. They not always have the right side to them, but I do find them quite interesting.
Yeah, I mean, it's a really interesting. I think because it is very much, Canada and America centric. It's not like most other myth, the Bigfoot, all of the other, the Loch Ness. We have a version of that over here. Yeah. The big cats, all of that lot. But the Wendigo is really specific to that side of the pond.
Yeah, I don't actually know if we have anything that is similar to the Wendigo.
I don't think. I mean, with shapeshifters, but again, we don't really have that.
Might be something to look into.
Might be. See if we've got something similar over this side. Yeah. But nothing is springing to mind. We've got. I say we've got like it's a thing. We've got werewolves and the vampires. We've got all those legends and myths all over here. Witches and pretty much everything else you can get a version of over here. But the Wendigos are very much over there.
Yeah.
And the whole sort of the history, the beginnings of it is very sort of Native American. It's very their kind of their types of storytelling that they had about all the mystical and mythical things, which I love. I absolutely adore. But, the Celts didn't really go in for that sort of thing, did they?
No.
Too busy worrying about Vikings.
Oh, Simon's just said about, we've said about the cannibalism.
Yeah.
Not everyone's going to like this, but saying about when it comes to Christianity and the church, eating the body of Christ.
Yeah. And drinking his blood as well, if you're of age to be able to do that in certain churches. I've always thought that's really bizarre.
Yeah, I've never thought of it like that. Like that is a bit creepy, isn't it?
It's incredibly creepy. I always thought it was creepy. It was always, but you know, I was brought up in a Catholic school, but I've never been particularly religious. So it's always, and because I've been interested in lots of different religions, no one particular religion has had much of a hold on me. So when we had to go through all these rituals and routines and the stand up and the sit down and the kneel down and the stand up and the sit down and the amen and the Our Father and the shake hands and the go up and the have the little disc of rice paper or whatever it was.
Yeah.
It's always been a kind of really bizarre ritual to me. But the rice, you know, the body of Christ is actually really tasty, apart from the fact that it sticks to the top of your mouth.
Yeah. So I never really went to church myself. I did a few little Sunday schools when I was a child. So yeah, I didn't get to take part in that part of things.
We'll get you some little rice paper wafers. You pretend.
Yeah, so basically, you're going to turn into a Wendigo. What's wrong with my life?
I live miles away from you. You're fine.
Yeah, I'll be there. You can stay there.
Oh dear.
Oh.
What do you reckon? Am I going to go heart of ice? Eh? Am I going to go heart of ice? No.
I suppose, like, when they say about the long winters, and also they were called winter walkers or white walkers. It gives it a bit of a Game of Thrones feel to it.
Everyone's gonna die.
Yeah. I mean, I was just thinking about it. If they're cold-hearted, like they've got the heart of ice, are they predominantly a winter creature? So do they go into like hibernation when it comes to summer? Because that's something that I couldn't actually find.
That's interesting. That's an interesting point.
All I kept finding was winter, cold, and people starving through winter. But there was never anything to say about Wendigos in summer, so it might be something that I need to do a little bit more research into. But yeah, just maybe they hibernate through the summer and come out in winter.
Maybe those kind of beaver dens that chappie found with all the store food is where they go in the summertime, and they hide themselves in there with their nice stored up food that they hunted all winter.
Yeah,
what a pleasant thought. I am never hiking in America. I'm sorry. It might not be true, but you know, just in case.
Just in case. Like, you just hear so many horror stories. It's always in the woods.
Absolutely.
We don't really get that over here.
No.
The woods over here to me is something like magical and pretty, really relaxing and peaceful. But when I think about the woods in America, it's not somewhere I want to be.
I went to Virginia. I went to Virginia, the Blue Ridge Mountains in Virginia, for about 4 days through a friend of mine who was thinking of moving up there. And we actually stayed in a bear hunter's cabin. And everything that you are now imagining in your head about what a bear hunter is and what a bear hunter's cabin looks like is exactly right.
The antlers on the walls.
Pelts on the walls, guns lining up, you know, in the middle of the forest, there's woods everywhere. We drove up there with deers watching us. And he took us for a trek. He wanted to show us this amazing thing that he'd seen. And he took us on this trek. And about halfway through, there was about 4 or 5 of us walking along. And I'm at the back. And you know when you're being watched, you kind of get that feeling. And I'm just like, oh, it's just because we're in this really, really, I mean, it's beautiful. Don't get me wrong. It is absolutely beautiful. But it's just how we're in this forest, kind of like a jungle walking through. And he gets us into this clearing. He's like, oh, yeah, everyone keep together. We're being followed by a cougar. We've been tracked by a cougar. And I'm like, oh, that's lovely.
Oh, yeah.
But they are dense forests, really dense. I wouldn't be surprised if something clever was following you that you wouldn't know.
Yeah.
I could imagine quite easily that you wouldn't know you were being followed if something clever was tracking you. No chance of knowing about it.
No, it's like I know we're going back to the Bigfoot thing now, but I watched a documentary. Was it documentary? Yeah, of like people's stories with Bigfoot, and they didn't actually know that they were being followed, but there was like he was following them. They didn't know until he started throwing rocks at them. So again, being very stealthy and well, just hunting prey, isn't it? You know what you're doing. Yeah, you can just catch people out.
I mean, you've got to think as well. Simon's just said there, it makes you wonder if they don't want to be seen, why they venture into urban environments where they risk being seen. But you've got to, in my head, it kind of is almost like, if these are intelligent creatures or relatively intelligent creatures, then they will have their own personalities. And there is always going to be that one idiot that wants to prove himself to the rest of the group. There's always going to be that one male, raw, I can do this, look at me.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah. He's going to be like on the football team. Like.
That's right, yeah. Look what I can do. I prove myself. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not listening to what you tell me. I can go in there if I want to.
Yeah. But then everyone else will tag along just because, like, just in case he gets hurt or...
Yeah, just to watch him fall on his face.
Yeah, eaten. And then the rest of the team will get eaten and wonder why, and one person will escape. It'll be one of those. It will.
And their horror movies will be about us.
Yeah. Oh, trying to impress the girls, yeah.
That's it. Trying to impress the girls.
Oh, I think I've actually run out.
Oh no, we've got 15 minutes still to film.
I know.
Look at the pretty rat. Look at the pretty rat.
No, I did see a lot that there was a lot of people that were very unhappy about the way that the Wendigo was turned into this Western idea.
Yeah.
Due to Grimm, Supernatural.
Yeah.
You know, all the different programs they're making it Western.
I didn't see it on Grimm because I like the program, but I haven't watched it with fanatical religious like I have Supernatural.
Yeah.
But I mean Supernatural didn't make it out to be anything. That was creepy. That was season 1 where things were scary on Supernatural.
Yeah. I did like Supernatural. Yeah, there's just so many differences between them. There was another thing to do with the eyes. So Westerns was saying that it was bright red eyes, the glowing eyes, and natives are saying no, it was just like sunken back eyes.
Yeah.
It didn't say anything about glowing, so it's almost like Western people have taken something again, as they do.
I've found that Western people like to give things red eyes, though. They do it with they did it with the Shadow Man. They do it with everything. They give it like red eye. I don't know whether it just makes it.
There's always red glowing eyes or horns, fangs. Everything's got to have red eyes.
Red eyes. It makes it more
scary. It's not evil if it's not got red eyes.
Yeah, so it's just... can't be supernatural if it hasn't got red eyes.
It has to have red eyes. But no, it does seem like there was a lot of uproar about it. Even on the TikTok video that I did, it was obviously saying about Western parts of it. Someone wasn't very happy. Asked me to take it down. But obviously, it's trying to get people to learn about it as well.
Yeah.
So, by researching, you're just learning about the different perspectives of it. And I think if I was to take all the videos down, no one's actually going to be learning.
Absolutely.
Everyone.
The best thing to do is present all the evidence and let people make up their own minds.
Exactly.
That's it. If you believe it, you believe it. If you don't, you don't.
Yeah, I very much like to believe in a lot of things.
I think the problem comes when you get people refusing to accept when you tell them, what you've captured isn't supernatural. It isn't. I'm a member of a lot of these like online groups to do with the supernatural and all these weird and wonderful things, because I'm really interested in all these things. But when you get like the 400th person of the day giving a photo that they've taken into the sun and there's a blue dot on it, and they're like, "Oh, I've caught an orb."
Yeah.
No.
No, I am like that as well. Like, you have to really look into things. Obviously, like I said, I do like to believe in a lot of things, but I am also like that partial skeptic. So, like, it has to be 100% in my mind that's real. Otherwise, I am going to be looking. I'm going to be looking and going, right, could it be this? Could it be that? Like, is it just the wind like slithering through the door, and that's that noise that you can hear?
Absolutely.
It's not,
absolutely. But I think it's also a bit of self-preservation in that as well, because the times that I've experienced something weird, especially if I'm on my own, then it's my head going, it's the wind, it's this, it's that, and and it's only when I get to that point where I'm like, there is nothing else that could have made that noise, that I'm leaving the house.
Yeah. So I think I'm just glad that there's not as many bad things over here like there are over there. There is so many different cryptids that are over in lots of other different countries. So I do the cryptid series on TikTok, and I'm always trying to find one that's going to be the next episode.
Yeah.
And
have you done one on the Chupacabra?
That's my next one.
Is it? Oh, I love the I love the whole thing about the Chupacabra. It's brilliant. Some of the stories are amazing.
Yeah. So that is the next one. I was going to try and get it up this week. Obviously, we've had a lot of dramas going on and
lots of technical difficulties happening.
Yes. So we're going to try and get it sorted. Yeah, fingers crossed that'll be up soon. I need to get a load of those up because we've just finished doing the uploading the doll series onto YouTube. So we will now be moving on to the cryptid series.
And we've got the witches thing happening soon as well, haven't we? So yes, so we're doing
that's going to be good.
Big thing about witches and the witch hunter general, and looking forward to that. Getting the sink of my teeth into that.
Yes.
Unpopular opinion: the UK have pumas and panthers. Yeah, we do. We do. We have big cats. The big cats of Bodmin Moor and all the rest of them. Big pumas, big panthers. Executive pets that get released.
Yeah,
absolutely.
What's that?
What else have we got there?
Oh. Can't understand very well. That's fine. We're glad you're here.
Simon's just asking, this may have been covered, where does the name Wendigo come from?
Oh, I don't know.
I believe it is a Native American word, isn't it? From all the different tribes. Like, there's all very, very similar pronunciations.
Yeah,
like there's a Wendigo and a Wittigo and a Whittaker.
Yes.
But it's all it means cold walker or shapeshifter or something. I can't remember what it.
No, it's not here. Wendigo. It's First Nations based in and around East Coast forests of Canada. So yeah, Canada. Yeah, natives in Canada.
Yeah.
Yeah, just reading it. Yeah, it doesn't really say much on the name. It just says about where it comes from, but not the name. Where's the name come from? I can't see.
Let's see if it says. It says what it is.
Yeah.
But not what the word actually stands for. a malevolent, violent cannibal spirit found in a Shinabi. Oh, I'm going to pronounce all of this wrong.
Yeah, I saw that earlier.
Cree mythology, which inhabits the body of a living person and possesses him or her to commit murder. From Wendigo. Interesting. Yeah, I wonder what it actually translates as.
Yeah, I'm just trying to find it. I can't seem to find anything. It just keeps coming up saying what the Wendigo actually is.
What it is, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a curious thing, isn't it?
Hmm.
Oh, another rough translation of Wendigo is the evil spirit that devours mankind.
Oh, there we go. That would do
a
it.
long name, isn't it? I'm glad they shortened that.
Nice.
The evil spirit that devours mankind.
Yeah, I've just found that. Yeah. Ancient origins.
Yeah, there we go. That's what it is.
Yeah.
That's precisely what it says on the tin.
Yeah, I don't think you're going to get a better explanation. Man-eater. Oh, no. Don't, Sarah. I've got a song stuck in my head.
Yeah, that's me as well. Exactly.
Thank you. Thank you, Sarah.
All afternoon, all evening now. Thank you.
I'm not going to sleep. I'm going to have a mixture of the Wendigo and the song Man-Eater. No, imagine that as a nightmare. Thank you, Sarah. That's lovely. I'm going to pop that. Oh, not that one. That one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Simon, that's a mouthful by the time you call out that. If you see one, you'd be dead. It's true.
Yeah, with
the evil spirit that consumes my.
Yeah. Oh dear.
But there we go. I think we've pretty much run out of the information that we have on these things. Again, it's up to you whether you believe they exist or not, whether it's a myth put out there to stop people turning to cannibalism in the deep depths of their cold, freezing winters.
Yeah.
Or it's something supernatural, or it is actually just a species of animal that we have not encountered as yet and categorized.
Yeah, I wouldn't risk it.
I wouldn't risk it. No, I'm not planning on hiking out into the mountains to try and tag the thing and
yeah. Oh, I'm not gonna go and
film
eat
it like the
because I'm starving.
No, I'm not doing it.
No, I think I'm gonna starve.
Yeah. Or just admire the thing from a distance.
Yeah. No, if anyone else has got any other questions, please let us know. Or if you've got any experiences, that's even better.
That would be brilliant. If you've got any footage.
Footage would be amazing. It'd be amazing to share that. So if you do have any, or if you've been to America, you've been to Canada. If you've been to Canada, I'm making up countries. If you've been to America, you've been to Canada, and you've come across something that you can't quite explain, send it in. We would love to.
It doesn't only go for the Wendigo, it goes for anything. If you've got something that's a bit weird, send it in to us. We want to see it. And this is just to do with supernatural stuff. So don't get any ideas.
Yeah, no other weirdness.
No other weird stuff, please.
Yeah, just like paranormal, please. That could have been fun.
Yeah, no, I just get that on my DMs anyway. I don't need it.
No, we don't need that. We don't need that. Who are shouting at where are we? Okay, so I think we're at that time now where we're going to call it good night.
That is true.
So I just want to thank everyone for coming along.
Absolutely.
It's been so I've actually really enjoyed speaking about this topic. So maybe next time we'll find another creepy one that I might like. Like my dark, mysterious things. So I'm really sorry if you come across us again and you find another episode.
We're going to go straight to the demons next, aren't we? Straight to the demons. straight to demons next, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, we had that amazing interview last week.
Yeah, with the demonologist. Yeah. That was
Absolutely
really
amazing. Good. So I can't wait for Sarah and Kerry's next one next week. I don't know what you're doing yet. Do you know what you're doing yet, Sarah? And thank you. Yeah, I've put it up. It makes me happy.
Yay! It's been a great conversation. I've had a really good time. It's been great.
So yeah, Sarah, if you let me know what we're doing. Was going to suggest demons. Brilliant. Well,
okay, so maybe demons.
Fingers crossed then maybe Sarah and Kerry will be speaking about demons next week. Fingers crossed, because I'd be definitely watching that one. I'm tuning in.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
And I have no idea what we're doing in a fortnight. No clue.
I don't know if I'm checking again or...
We will get back to you as soon as we know, because at the moment it's that time where everything is at the end of everything and everything's up in the air. In a fortnight, we'll know what we're doing. Team huddle. Yes.
Okay, so we're going to head off then, everyone. Thank you again for joining us, and thank you to those who come back when we're not live to rewatch. It's been really great being here this evening, so thank you and good night.
Good night.